I was over at the nursery and talking about my baby apple trees. Oops, there's a bug. Is that a leaf? It's a bug in a leaf. And they said get them in the ground as soon as possible. They were impressed with what I told them about how they're growing. Why are there flies getting attached to these and dying on them? That's weird looking. But they said get them in the ground. They were impressed with how I've pulled them out, and they came up with roots, and then I planted them, and they're growing. They said get them in the ground as soon as possible. And today's raining, and tomorrow's going to rain. So look at all the fresh growth. It's beautiful. This is all new growth. This is all new growth. And this is all new growth. It's really good this year. This one is slower, I don't know why, but it's alive. And over here, a bushy one. Really bushy one. But I'm going to have to stake him up and try to straighten him. Michelle has been planting on her own, right, Michelle? Yeah, run away. Michelle has been planting on her own in my fig tree. I've had this for 3 years, babying it. And she put some seeds in here, and they're growing. We need to transplant them. What? What? Oh, okay. So, I gotta get them out of there. They're gonna shade out my fig. But it's growing beautiful. Look at that. Probably doesn't have enough time to bear fruit before it's too cold, but we'll see. But since it's raining, I'm gonna plant these. I'm gonna go get stakes and figure out where I'm gonna put my apples. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 good happy apples and a baby one that's still, one from seed that's still growing, but we'll might have to wait till next year on that little one. I've got 2 of my apple trees here. Now, consider this tree, this big thing, started out at the base of this tree as a little shoot coming out of the ground, which I pulled out by hand. So, and there's another one. My Tractor Supply trees died miserably. So I had really went all out and put good soil in there, and I put some soil mix in there, and I really tried to make them happy, but they did not. That soil is soft. Let me show you. I put a mixture of peat and manure and composted or topsoil in there. Now what I'm going to do is expand the hole and put a whole bag of composted manure. It's 555. It's mixed with soil, so I'm going to put a whole bag of that. Ideal growing medium. So I don't think there's any problem with planting in it. It says growing medium. So I'm going to put that whole bag in a hole and plant the tree in it and see what happens. Now this mix here I want to keep because it was not garbage. That was good stuff that I put in there. There's good fertile soil here. I'm definitely going to mix that back in. Roots of these weird shrub things that grow wild out here cause me troubles. There's a lot of stuff out here in nature that spreads runners all over. Makes it hard to dig or do anything for that matter. So that's all. I'm getting into some sand on the outskirts. But I'm going to dig this hole big enough to put that whole that whole bag of growing medium into. There's a root. I don't know what that's to. I need a axe or hatchet out here. I can break that out of the way or something. And get that tree in some good healthy soil. and plant right in the middle of it. Now the other trees, the Tractor Supply ones, had tiny little root balls. So I didn't go this big with the hole. Boy. It's dense with life in here. You can't tell me it's dead soil. But there's a sand layer you get into down there pretty close to the bottom. They're about a foot down. This tree's going to have a lot of nice material to grow in. I'm going to mulch it heavily with some stuff I've got, and retain moisture and add nutrients along the way. Now this is full of, it says organic material. Oh yeah, it's loaded with material. Wow, yeah. This root is in my way, finally. Now I've got to space that out. I shouldn't have put it all in once. It was a mistake. I've got to space that out. Oh, that's fluffy. Oh, wow, that holds moisture. That's beautiful. I want to dig the hole big enough for the pot. Perfect. Now the hardest part. Can you see me very well? I know I got the camera centered between the two trees, but I hope you can see where I am. The hardest part now is going to be to get this out of the pot without harming it or its root base. I hope it's not going to be an issue. Oh, not so bad at all. Oh, wow. Oh, the roots. Oh, wow. That is just from pulling up, violently pulling straight up out of the ground. Oh, sorry. My hands are filthy. Look at the roots on that. That was a little tiny thing that I pulled out of the ground straight up with a tiny little bit of root that came with it from the base of an apple tree. Beautiful. Oh, my pant legs stick to my knees. I used to rip out my pant legs until I learned to pull them up with my elbows as I sat down. Now I'm going to have to stake this one up. And there's a lot of organic material in here. I'll stake it up and try to get it to grow straighter. Boy, one bag doesn't look like much once you get it out there. That tree will have plenty of space with organic nutrients to grow into. Now, I want to take, mosquitoes are starting to come out. I want to take the better part of this and put it on top, because that was rich, a mixture of peat and manure and compost. That was a nice mixture that I put in there, and topsoil mix. Very rich. All the way around. We want those nutrients to get back to that base of that tree as they leach into the soil with time. I think this is going to be one of my best plantings ever. Now I'm just going to replace the soil that I pulled out around it, not touching the base of the tree itself, and then I'll have a outline where the mulch is going to go when I get to it. Something like that anyway. Gives me a hill. So there's one apple tree. Now I'm going to stake him up because he's really crooked. This is the worst one. I'm going to try to stake him up right so that he'll grow on a strong foundation. I've got another one right there. Same situation. I put some beautiful material in there. That's a decent tree. Consider that was just a little sprig that came up on a, well, I'll show you. That came up at the base of this tree right here from the ground, and I pulled them up straight up. Now those leaves are different from these leaves, so I have no idea what I've got. They're a different leaf, so the rootstock itself is strong and sending out new apple trees, which I'll then replant and grow my orchard. So that's definitely, you can see a different apple tree. But actually those, is it even possible that those are different yet than these from the same base of the same tree? That's definitely apple tree. But that looks different. How weird is that? That's strange. Well, I'm going to pull them up and plant them anyway and see what I get out of them in the future. There's one. I put a stake in the middle, a little plastic alligator type clip, where are you, to hold it up gently. This one, the root boss started to fall apart on me and gave me some trouble, but I managed to get it in there. So this one's going to have some recovery. You can see the dirt all over it. It fell over upside down on me. That was not so easy. But I see I've got a nice round mass of soil and nutrients and rotting things around it, not to touch the base. And I'm going to expand that with tree bark mulch that I have, and in a few minutes here. So I'll be back on camera in a few minutes. So I'm going to put a wide ring of mulch around each tree. This is tree bark from log splitting, so it's a mixture of soft and hardwoods. Anything that touches the base of the tree I'll pull out later when I'm done. Now you're supposed to put 4 inches around each tree. I don't know if I got enough for that much right now, but when I get a tractor running over at the other property, I will certainly have an abundance of materials for us here. Over at the other property I'm working on, I can get all the tree bark and aged sawdust mix. Aged, really long aged. So once those roots branch out, this tree will have a nice ring of nutrient-rich material around it. Now I might just go all the way on this. Use a whole wheelbarrow on one. I can get more. I can get a lot more where that comes from. Over by my log splitter, there's more. And then don't forget the pile of pine shavings or pine needles and stuff we have. This is all natural materials, recycled from our own property, our own land, our own resources here. A lot of earthworms in there, but and night crawlers, they vanished when I disturbed them. They went down there somewhere in there. There's a lot, and that's a good sign of healthy soil. So there's one tree that I think will do very well. Now, there's a risk. That's came out from the rootstock of the original tree. So I don't know what I've got here until it grows. We don't know if it's good apples or what they're going to be like, so I'm taking a risk, but it's a good rootstock. And so this, whatever this apple tree is, whatever variety it is very hardy for this area. And that's where that came from, the roots, because they graft a desirable tree onto the root of a very hardy tree. So that'll be the hardy variety, and it'll take us a few years to know what it's going to give us. It could be little apples, it could be sour apples, but whatever it is, we'll find a use for them here in the homestead. I can tell you that. Melanie says lunch is ready, so I've got to go. I still got to get a wheelbarrow load of mulch for this one. And then I've got 2 more yet to go. But our orchard is starting to fill out. Now I'm going to keep them small and manageable. So I'm planting relatively dense here. I mean, these could grow to be what, 20, 40 feet tall? I don't know exactly. Again, I don't know the variety. But I've got one here. I've got one there. I've got one here. I've got one there that died, and it's got some fruit coming from the base. I'm going to chop off the dead tree and prune all but one of the strongest of the trees coming up. This one here, I don't know what happened. I have no idea. The top died. It leafed out beautifully, and then it died. And the bottom is growing. So now I'm going to trim down all but one of them and hope that the top one still lives this year. But you know, I'm not going to cut the top off until next year and see what happens. But I'll keep one of them. This one died and never came back. 2 years now and it hasn't done anything. And it's dead. The root is dead. So it was not a tree that would survive this climate here. So I'll cut that off entirely and compost it. And then put one of my baby trees in here. There, that one's mulched. So I got 2 trees done that grew up on their own, and I've nurtured and cared for, and got them going, expanding our orchard. Now the smaller ones, there's one over here by my gate to the orchard, mulched nicely, and by the base of the dead tree I put one up and mulched him nicely. Sadly, that tree did not come back. So, but there was some really good soil down in there. Oops, I gotta scrape the stuff away from the base of that. And then I imported some raspberries. I brought these in a week or 2 ago. And they're bearing fruit, actually. So there was one, I brought this one in like that. There's this one here, and there was a baby one. There's this one here. Oh, this one has a baby coming up. I think one of these was a new baby. It's maybe 2 weeks I did that. And this one's sort of dried out. I don't know why they do that. I might have to water it more. I don't know, but the berries are really, really, really nice. They're tiny this year because it was a dry year and a hot year, but they're really, really tasty. Some of them just have pieces of berries, but they're really nice. We're gonna bring more over. Let them take over an area out here. Well guys, there it is. There's my orchard as it is so far. And my herb hill. Planting trees in March. That's going to be another hill right there of herbs. Well, thanks for watching guys. Please like, subscribe, and share, and follow our daily videos as we strive to become fully off the grid and self-sufficient on a budget. Gonna have our own fruits. That's self-sufficiency. Talk to you all later.